Okay, so part 2 about trauma and how it affects us. And I'm just giving you a synopsis of my life so you understand how I can directly put trauma into my weight. So, needless to say, Colorado, when we were just living together, was great. And then he said, I really love you, and we're doing something, the kids love us both, and things are going good. Why don't we just get married? And I don't know why I didn't say, I don't need a piece of paper. I don't know why I didn't say that. Because things probably would have stayed great if we weren't married. But I agreed and went down to the courthouse. We got married, and then the same crap started all over again. And he wasn't yelling and screaming at me, it was the kids. And it was like he changed. It was like he suddenly had an ownership paper on us. In the meantime, I've been going to counseling. I had gone to a doctor. They'd done a thing down my throat to see if I had like a mass in my stomach or if I had something wrong with the muscles in my stomach. Because I was going to the gym 6 days a week and losing maybe a pound. And, I was writing down the food I was eating. He's like, it just doesn't make sense. I don't understand what's going on. I don't know why you're not losing weight. And the thing of it is, my doctors were good, but had they sent me to a nutritionist, I probably would have been able to figure it out better. Had they sent me to the right doctor, had the doctor run, I don't know how they test for PCOS, but that was diagnosed later. And then actually I probably had it since after my 2 kids were born, which is probably why I had a miscarriage later on with my second husband, was because then your body just doesn't process things the right way. But the worst part about all of it is, had I gone to a counselor, the right counselor, because I did go to a counselor, but they weren't that great. I might have realized that she might have been able to tell me even that when you have trauma in your life and you're not dealing with it, you are stressed more than the average person. Stress in and of itself releases hormones that makes your body hold on to fat and create more fat. But another part of what creates more fat in your body is your digestion system. And so every time you get a fight, flight, or freeze syndrome moment, your digestion tract shuts down. And all of these things do not help your body have a healthy processing of all the minerals and vitamins it needs. You end up with mineral and vitamin deficiencies. On my Facebook health coach page, I just shared a story about potassium deficiencies and what it can cause in your body and in your life. Once you start getting vitamin and mineral deficiencies, you start having health issues to some extent, whether you get brain fog or you gain weight easily or any of these things. These things can all affect you at the end of the day. These things can make you gain weight. But, it's a big but, bigger than my butt. Y'all, if you live in a state of victimhood, saying, well, this was done to me, blah, 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 the more you talk about how you're a victim, the more you're making your body shut down, because the more you're owning that stress. The best way for you as a person who has gone through trauma in your life to handle things is to figure out a way to deal with the things that happen to you and make them no longer define you. But if you're happy staying in that status of a victim, then congratulations, you're never going to solve your weight problem. You can have every surgery in the book. You can go to the best doctors. You will remain fat for the rest of your life. And not because you want to be. I don't think anybody's happy being fat. I recently heard about a couple that a friend was talking about, and I won't mention her name, and I don't know them personally, but the guy has like stage 4 renal disease and still eats like crazy, and he's super overweight. And he doesn't even care. He's got kids, doesn't even care. Like, he knows he's going to die young and doesn't even care because food is more important to him and his trauma is more important to him than his family. When you've been through trauma, you have got to decide what is more important to me, the power of the person that did something to me or my power to take my life back. Like, I tell people that all the time. Like, you have to take your own life back. Yes, these things happen to you, but they don't define you. And I think it's so easy to be the victim. It is really the easy way out. And I know there's someone out there going, oh, girl, you just don't know what happened to me. Honey, let me give you a short list of my life. I have been assaulted in an inappropriate way with a knife to my throat. I have had a friend get stabbed standing right next to me. I have been assaulted in other ways, if you know what I mean. I woke up to a dentist touching me in places he shouldn't have. I have been punched in the face by my husband. I have been pushed into a wall. I've had my head shoved into a dryer. I have had people cheat on me. I have had people lie about me. I have had people key my car because they got mad because I gave them a word of advice after they asked me for it. I have tried drugs to get out of the way I felt to make me feel better, and it did nothing. But anyhow, I have had friends who are major druggies. I have been stolen from. I have had family members killed by a serial killer. I've had a very good friend killed by her son's best friend. Murdered in her home. Both her and her son. I've been taken from my family and then put with family. And honestly, most of my family doesn't even talk to me anymore. And a lot of times I don't even understand why, except for the fact that it's their problem. I don't care if tomorrow I wake up and have zero family, as long as I have my kids. Because you know what? At the end of the day, if I am not good enough for them, then I don't need them. But it has taken me understanding that I am not a victim. And if I allow myself to have people tell me that what they think about me controls who I am, then I lose. They don't lose anything. They lose nothing. Period. Nothing. They lose nothing by telling me how to live my life. Am I going to make mistakes? Oh, yeah. I'm a person. I'm a human. I am going to screw some stuff up royally. But you know what I've kind of decided in all of this? No matter how bad I screw things up, nothing is completely unfixable. Like, I have been through some stuff, y'all. And I didn't go through everything. I don't talk about this, and I'm going to share this one time only on my channel. 9/11. I will never be able to stand underneath a plane again, and I will always miss my friend. I couldn't get home fast enough to see my children. I almost ripped them out of school. There is very little that can happen to you that I haven't gone through. I would love to say my life is fake, that everything that's happened to me never happened. I would love to say there's not a lot of evil out in this world, but that would be a lie. Were there times where maybe in the beginning, before I had my allergic reactions, that I could have lost more weight? Probably. Because that was before my PCOS set in, before I got put on all the medications and all of that. Could I have lost a bunch of the weight to where it wouldn't have been as bad? Probably. But I was living in that victimhood. I was living in the fact that I was afraid to look over my shoulder because maybe the guy that raped me would be there. I was afraid to live. I was afraid to have friends. I was afraid they might know someone who knows somebody who's it's all going to get back and I don't have to see this person. I haven't been to New York City since 9/11. More so just because I haven't had a reason to, in the last maybe 10 years. But before that, I had pretended that it didn't happen. That was just a weird dream. I had pretended that I didn't see anything. I had pretended a lot of things. I avoided watching any TV for a week before and a week after. Because if I could pretend it didn't happen, I could go on with my life. All of these things affected my body, my ability to live. If you watch my very first video, one of the things I say to you is, I don't know who I am. January of 2019 was the first time in my life that I realized that my ultimate problem was I was always so busy trying to make everybody else happy that I never tried to find myself. I went by the labels everybody else gave me and I took them happily. And I just did what I was supposed to do. And I was always right there to say, yes, I'll help you. And I never said no. And I was always reliable. And I was always miserable. So do I own my weight gain? Absolutely. I own it. I own 100% of it. Yes, some things happened to me. But it's not someone else's fault. It's mine. And if you're gonna live in a happy little land of victimhood, then you're not ready. So don't get that surgery. Don't take that pill. Don't do it. Because, I did a video by Amberlynn Reed, and I'm going to tell you right now, she's happy living in victimhood. Listen to her sometime. Now, I don't watch very many of her videos. I watch a few people that do, discuss her videos. And I've only seen maybe 10 of them. But, I remember watching where she was crying about how she wanted to see her mom so bad, but the next day she was, eating at a buffet or something. You can be a victim all you want, but you're not going to succeed in life as a victim. There's lots of resources out there for people who've been through trauma. And if you choose not to take advantage of them, and by take advantage of them, I don't mean just show up, I mean participate, then you're going to end up 44 years old or 43 years old at the time, waking up one day and realizing you have no idea who the hell you are. None. Zero. I know there's someone out there thinking, wow, you're being super harsh, you're mean. Okay. Here's the thing, is something I've learned since January, because when I walked into my counselor's office in January, I've talked to him about some deep things. He's helped me through current life stuff, in the last couple of years. And I wasn't going every month. I was going every once in a while. I'd go for a couple weeks and then not go, and then go for a couple weeks and then not go. Just kind of go when I needed it, and it was fine. It was working. But I wasn't improving. And I literally walked in January and I said, I have no idea who I am. Help me. And he did. He started asking me, well, what, if someone had to write a list of what you are, what would they give me for a list? And I started going over things, And he said, okay, so let's tackle the first one and why that's not who you are. He took all the labels off me. And once he did that, I started realizing that I've been wearing all these labels of who I think everyone thinks I am for so long. I never tried to figure out which one of those were actually me. Which ones I wanted. Which ones I didn't want. I always felt like I didn't have a decision. Because I always lived in this state of, well, all these things happen to me, I can't change it. You're right, you can't change it. Crap happens. Crap happens to everybody. Maybe not as much crap happens to people as happens to me. I am fully aware of that because me and some friends have had some conversations like, man, if you wrote a book, you'd be like, that's a fiction. Yeah. And the serial killer thing, his name was Michael Ross, Connecticut. Leslie Shelley was my best friend's sister. And the last name Taylor, that was my cousin's wife. And 2 days before he got arrested, my friend and I were leaving in Jewett City. He lived near this pizza palace. And you can look up Jewett City Pizza Palace. It's in there. You can find it. Find out where he lived, right down the road. Anyhow, we were walking back to her house, and he offered us a ride. And I said no. And then when he got arrested, I was like, oh, that's the guy who offered me a ride. And my grandmother lost her ever-loving mind. But yeah, this stuff is true. I can prove it. No, I wish it wasn't. Trust me, if I could take any of these things off of my plate, I would. The day that my teacher, Elaine Clooney, 1993, May 24th, the day my daughter was born a year later. Irony, I think not. I was supposed to be at her house, and this guy I was dating was back home from boot camp, so I kind of blew her off. And I said I wasn't feeling good, and I wasn't going to go to her house that day. She decided to run some errands, and later that evening, my grandmother got a phone call, and I call my grandmother my mom a lot because she raised me. So I do have technically two moms, sort of. I'm not trying to show disrespect to my biological mom. We talk. But I blew her off, and I told her I didn't feel good. About 6:30, 7 o'clock, the phone rang. My grandmother answered it, and I was sitting visiting my boyfriend, and I just remember thinking she was lying to me. But yeah, one of his friends had hidden it. It got left school early, hidden in his closet, in her son's closet. And when her son came home, he that in the back of the head. And then when she came home and found her son, he came out of the closet and did the same thing to her. On the way out, did the same thing to the dog and then stole their car. And years later, I went to church with his mom. That was special. Because she was one of those people walked around and she was better than everybody else. And one day she kind of came at me because she thought she was in charge of something. I was just, listen, I know you're skeleton. And I told her who my friend was. And I said, I was supposed to be there that day. Guess I'm still here to remind you that your son's evil. Turned around and walked away. Probably not the nicest thing to say because I'm sure she was hurting. It wasn't her fault necessarily that her son did that. Her son had some mental health issues that weren't being addressed. But, you know, I wish these things hadn't happened in my life. And technically they happened to me, but they don't define me. And if you want to live in a it happened to me status, go for it. Just don't be surprised. People like me are like, get a counselor and get over the hill. I know sometimes that hill looks like a dang mountain. It looks like the biggest mountain in the world. Sometimes it looks like Mount St. Helens because you know when you get to the top, it's going to be lava. Like, it sucks. It's not easy. But if you don't do it for anybody else, don't get better, don't deal with these things for anybody else but yourself. Because if you don't do it for you, it ain't going to work. It ain't going to matter. You have to do it for yourself. And I mean, there are some people who are happy being victims and they like the status it gives them, I guess. I don't. But I can tell you where I was in January, where I am now facing my birthday in July. I know who I am then. This birthday actually bothers me this year. And not for the reason you would think. It bothers me because it took me too long to figure this stuff out. It took me too long to realize that my life could be completely different. Not that I don't like it now. I actually have a decent life right now. My husband, a little bit crazy, but so am I, so it's all right. I could have changed things in my life, so I wonder, would my kids be different? Would, if I wouldn't have done this, if I wouldn't have done that, I started doing that, and I started thinking of that. I said, stop. Your life has gone exactly how it's gone for whatever reason. That was not something you had a choice in. The choice you have now is how you're going to live the rest of life that you have. And so that's what I'm doing. And I mean, if one person sees this and thinks, you know what? She's right. I don't want to be a victim anymore. I want to have a different life. And they take a step in the right direction, whatever that looks like to them, then this video was worth it. This 2-part video was worth it. Because honestly, at the end of the day, I can't make you want to change. And I can't make you think that, I don't want you to think that any of it's going to be easy. But I can tell you it's worth it. I can tell you that I've had more enjoyment in my life. I've been able to handle things differently. The old me would have been upset over some stuff that's happened in my life. When my daughter said she was coming home permanently from China, I was excited because I thought I was going to get my daughter back. Well, I'm getting her back for a month. This guy she's known since pre-K. They've dated off and on, like junior high and high school and college. They had started talking again while she was in China, and they decided the reason they keep coming back together is because they're meant to be together. And, I'm sad because she's going to be 20 hours away, and I'm not going to pretend that I'm not getting teary-eyed over this because I am sad. Up until she left for China, we'd only been apart maybe a couple weeks of her entire life. And she's always been my help. She's always been my person that I could rely on. And now she'll be 20 hours away. And I'll see her a couple times a year. And yeah, that's hard. I'm not going to lie. I'm sad about it. I'm not going to pretend like I'm okay. But He came down to visit the first week she was here. And I got to meet the man he's become, not the boy he used to be, who was not necessarily the coolest, in my opinion. It's okay, he knows that. Because I made it very clear to both of them that if he pulls some crap like he used to, I will find a way up there and I will jump down a stone and gallop his guts out. But he's a good guy, and when he looks at her, he loves her. When she looks at him, she loves him. And that is all I can want for my daughter, even if it means she's 20 hours away. I'm not gonna say I'm not sad about it, because I am. But even with everything I've been through, I have raised an amazing woman. And she is going to be an amazing mom someday. And she's already traveled the world and made friends across the world. She's visited China, Vietnam. She's got a adopted sister, our exchange student from Italy. She's going to do amazing things. She's going for her master's in psychology. She's a good girl. And somehow, even though I never did these things for myself, I always knew how to tell her to get through stuff. She never was very good at taking my own advice. I'm just asking you, if for 5 seconds of your life, look at the people around you who looked up to you and wonder what you're teaching them. I'm lucky that I knew the right things to say to my daughter so she wouldn't be like me. But wouldn't it be better if you could say the right things to your daughter because you want her to be like you? Or to your son, grandkids. Maybe it's too late for doing your kids, maybe grandkids. The victim mentality will kill you. The stress it causes to you can cause cancer, heart disease, eating disorders of all size. You got a 50-50 shot at having an eating disorder, pretty much. Whether it's overweight or negative weight. Or, too light. Just own your life. Don't let that person that did something to you control you for the rest of your life. Take your power back. That's it. So tomorrow I'll have an update on Atlanta. Thank y'all for watching. Sorry I got teary. I love my kids more than life itself, and I would do anything for them. I really would. But right now, I'm doing what I need to do for me. Because someday I'm going to have grandkids, maybe. In like 50 years, right? Yeah. Probably not. Probably a lot sooner than I'm thinking about. But someday I'm going to have grandkids. And I don't want them to meet the old me. I want them to meet this me, but smaller. So that's my work. It's cut out for me. I'm going to do it myself. Because nobody else tells me how to live my life. Just me. Sorry, these are both super long, but this isn't a light subject. And probably these are going to get demonetized if I ever do make money on YouTube, which will probably be like 10 years. But anyhow, just take a minute. Think about things in your life that maybe you're holding on to and let them go. If you can't do it on your own, get a counselor. See y'all tomorrow.